She's a data analyst at the UW Tacoma's Office of Institutional Research and Planning, and she's also a member of the Tacoma Astronomical Society. She was chosen as the 2017 Astronomy in Chile Educational Ambassador. She actually came back from Chile recently, and hopefully in the future maybe she does another event for us and tells us all about that wonderful experience. So thank you, Alice, so much for volunteering your time, for sharing your expertise with us, and for getting us ready for this amazing experience on August 21st. So everybody, please help me welcome Alice.
All right, well, welcome everyone, and again, thank you for switching around times since we had so many more people than we were expecting. And very, very glad to see all of you here, because with this eclipse, and a lot of us have not experienced this before, and most of the children in this area have not, it has been something that we have been very passionate about, getting the word out and making sure people are safe. So, just to get us started, raise your hand if any of you guys here have ever witnessed a partial or a total eclipse, ever. Wow, okay, that's a lot. That's great. So how many of you guys were here in Washington in '79 and saw that eclipse? All right, good, right. Excellent. So, all right, let's make sure that this works. We do the first thing. Okay, of course. It's going to walk around, but we might have to. So we've got solar and lunar eclipses. Thank you. And so how many of you, so who can tell me and the rest of the group the difference then between a solar and a lunar eclipse? All right, someone, I've got a hand in the back, so just shout it out.
I think I know.
Good.
So for a solar eclipse, the moon passes between the Earth and the sun. For a lunar eclipse, the Earth passes between the sun and the moon.
The Earth passes between the sun and the moon, that's right. So what we have here is we've got a partial solar eclipse and we've got a lunar eclipse. So the next slide is a great demonstration of that. And so go ahead to the next one. So our solar eclipse, we've got a little moon right in between the Earth and the sun. And then its moon swings around the backside of the Earth. And then for the lunar eclipse, we've got big old head Earth getting in the way of the light from the sun from falling on the moon. So we only have two of them we have to remember. So as long as you can remember that it's the moon that's doing all the traveling, you're fine. It'll be great. Okay. So again, this is not to scale. And this is important. So it feels today when I was walking around that was to scale, that's how close the sun was, but that's not to scale. So just a little bit about just as an appreciation thing. So if we have this lovely Earth, right? So just with your hands, show me what you think the size of the moon. If I took the whole solar system and shrunk it down so that this was the Earth, show me with your hands how big you think the moon would be. Okay, I'm seeing things like this, I'm seeing things like this, a couple like that. All right, so to my pocket, does that help? All right, so this is the scale size, moon to Earth. What's interesting is it seems really small, but when you actually look at all of the moons in our solar system, we kind of have a moon that's kind of larger in proportion than, say, Jupiter or Saturn. They have lots of moons, and they're all little tiny moons. Now, so scale distance. So if I start moving this Earth away, how far do I have to move the moon from the Earth to get our scale distance correct? People are pointing over there. Hands are pointing. Can I get you to help me out? Yeah, come up here for a second. So you're my moon, and you're going to take this, and you're just going to start walking, just down that. And at about 10 meters, he's going to stop. So here is our scale distance. So hold the moon up high so everyone can see it. The little ping pong ball. Yeah, so there's our moon, and this is how far away it is at that scale, right? So, thank you very much. Bring that back. Let's give him a round of applause. So if I scrunch it all down again and it's 1 inch, This is another way to remember it. The moon is 1/4 inch, and it's out here, right? So that kind of gives you an idea that when we're watching this solar eclipse, right, we've got a tiny little moon that's going to have to do all that work, right? So go ahead and get to the next one. So there's another picture of our alignment. We're having a total eclipse this time. Something to remember, won't go through all the science class that you don't remember anymore. Don't worry about it. But one thing to remember is just, we don't have perfect circles in our solar system. Everything is slightly less than perfectly round, including planets and everything else. But the orbit of the moon around the Earth is also not perfectly round. And so there are times when the moon is just a little bit further away or just a little bit closer. And you've heard it in the news, because every time the moon is just on smidgen closer, right, in that elliptical orbit, we have a supermoon event, right? and everyone goes rushing out to see the supermoon event, but they don't make any hoopla about when it's just a little bit further away. This poor little moon only gets it when it comes up close. But the difference in the eclipses is, if the moon is slightly further away, will it appear larger or smaller in the sky? Smaller. So if it's smaller in the sky, it's not going to completely cover the sun during an eclipse, and that's when you have that annular eclipse. Right? Okay, so Eclipse 101, that's pretty much it. Okay, go ahead, give me the next slide. All right, so then why don't we see that eclipse every month? So who can answer that for me? I'm making the tech people crazy, doing all the up, down, left, right. Why don't we get it every month? So, because we have that moon between us and the sun, so that's the new moon phase, right, in the first quarter. And then when we have our lunar eclipse, that's the full moon phase. So we have a new moon, full moon every month, right? So why don't we get eclipses every month? They're not lined up, right? Okay, so it's really easy. What's your name? You've got a yellow shirt, it's perfect for the sun.
Carrie.
So Carrie is our sun, right? So Carrie, do you mind standing up since you've got that beautiful orange shirt for me?
Yeah.
Nice sun color there. And she's even, if you turn around, she's got little daisies on there. So, so she kind of looks like a sun, right? It's like, I saw that when she came in the room. I was like, oh, sit up front, sit up front. Okay, so, and she did, so she was super handy. So if I'm the Earth and she's the sun, right, it's easy to get 2 points to line up, right? If you think of it this way, she's the Girl Scout leader in the front, I'm the one in the back. How straight is the line of Brownie Girl Scouts? Not straight, right? So with all the orbits that you have in our solar system, they don't, you know, they each have their own little path, right? So we have the moon, so if I'm the Earth, and this is my moon, so, sorry, I'm going to stand there just a second. Funny story, I was on the bus, right, coming in today with this. On the bus, sit down, the gentleman across the aisle says, what is that? And I said, well, I'm going to run away and join the circus. He laughed, just like you did. I said, no, really, I'm going to explain why we don't have eclipses every month. And he looks at me and goes, I liked your first answer better. So, we're not all lined up, right? So the tilt of this orbit, the moon-Earth orbit, is just slightly off. It's just 5%. But you saw how tiny that moon was, right? So a 5% tilt means a lot when you've got a tiny object. So right now, right, I'm going to exaggerate it, not to scale. Right? I'm exaggerating. So this is my 5%. So if I'm sitting here, this is my new moon, right? Is it, right? Are all three bodies in a line? Too hot. No eclipse, right? But if I, in my orbit around the sun, remember I'm keeping the tilt the same, and I'm over here this time of the year, and I turn this to new moon phase. Now are we lined up? Yes. And then if I come over here to this time of the year, right, I'm keeping my tilt, and I line everything up, are we all lined up? No. Okay. Thank you very much. Good job. Lovely. All right, so that's why we don't get them all the time, and so that's why they tend to be special. And so it's great to be able to see them. So everyone, well, that's a generalization. Many people have seen this already. So this is our eclipse path. And so that red line right down the middle, that's the path of totality. And it's kind of the Great American or All-American eclipse because everyone that's in North America, Central America, and the very top part of South America will get some piece of an eclipse, right? If you're in the red band, you get totality. That moon is going to cover up that sun completely. Everyone else is going to get some form of a partial eclipse. And the partial eclipse we're going to get here is actually going to be really beautiful. It's going to be great. So, so that's what it kind of looks like as it goes across. So from Earth, you would view kind of this progression. You would see the moon start to get in front of the sun and continue and continue and continue until it was totally covering it. And then it just kind of reverses the process on the other side, right? So this is the view you would see from Earth. And this particular individual, Fred Espenak, is NASA's Mr. Eclipse. So if you have any questions about eclipses or astrophotography, someone was asking me, I don't do astrophotography, he has the best website ever. So you just go NASA Mr. Eclipse and you'll get it. Okay. But here's the great thing. The moon's casting a shadow, so you can go ahead and see it from space too. So this is taken from the International Space Station. That shadow is the moon's shadow crossing over the Earth. So you can see, tiny little moon, remember? It's going to make a tiny little shadow. So there's that tiny little shadow. You can see, it kind of answers the question, why does everyone not get to see the same eclipse? Right? Because that little shadow is just going to have its own little path across the Earth. So sometimes it falls on nothing but ocean, and no one on land gets to see it. And so that varies. The other thing that's great about that NASA website is they had all the eclipses mapped backwards for several centuries and forward for several centuries. So you can actually take a look when different eclipses were. So anyway, that's great. So you get to see off that totality line, if it's clear, right? Weather depending, it's like we're going to go through a month here with no rain. And so I'm kind of worried about what that means. So if it's clear out, you're going to get to see that. And go ahead. And this is a little illustration for those of you who are thinking about friends and relatives and family, right, in different parts of the world. This is a little montage about what all those different eclipses are going to look like in different parts of the United States. So, you know, I have family that's right about here, so I can show them what they're going to see. And the sweet spots up here in the Pacific Northwest, we have, you know, we're just going to be really just in a nice situation. So between our campuses, our furthest south campus is Tacoma, we'll get about a 93% of that sun will disappear. Okay. So there's our southernmost campus. This, I'm going to show you how to get to this map. It's on the NASA Eclipse website, and I'm going to show that to you here in a minute. But you need to remember when they show the times up here, they're in universal time. So you have to figure out universal time, and then just for right now, just subtract 7. Because we're in Pacific Daylight Time, not Standard Time. So for our campuses, roughly 9:08 in the morning to 11:38 in the morning. That's the complete time frame. So when you first get that little bitty kiss of the moon on the sun, to the very moment it leaves, that's the duration. So the maximum part of the eclipse will be right around, you know, 10:20, depending upon where you are. And that's why I want to show you where the map is so you can check it out for where you decide to be. All right? Here's where most of the Pacific Northwest is going. I-5 corridor. Let's just head down here. We're going to try and find some place that no one knows about here. All right. So if you're interested in maps and data, I'm a data analyst, right? Go ahead, that's where it's going. That's perfect. These are the estimated drive times after the eclipse to get home. So from that band, Salem's right there in the middle. If you're doing the I-5 corridor thing, then you're looking at a drive time of 4 to 6 hours to get back to our northernmost campus. So just, if you are planning on going down, if you can go down a couple of days early and stay a couple of days late, you'll really be thankful. The other thing you can do is avoid major highway corridors. So try, and a lot of people are heading out towards further east in Oregon and in Idaho, just to get rid of that coastal traffic. Okay. So if you do catch a total eclipse, then, so this is one that was done in Iceland, so this is kind of what you can expect, right? So you get complete coverage of the sun. And the reason why this is really so fascinating for people is what you can see about the sun that you never ever get to see with your own eyes from planet Earth, right? And a lot of that has to do with the corona, that big, huge final outer atmosphere of the sun. Okay. All right, so first eclipse. If it is your first eclipse, just enjoy it. So if you're thinking about taking videos or pictures or anything else, we've just been advising people that maybe don't. Some of you guys are great photographers, okay? You're hearing advice from a bad photographer, so it may not be the best advice, but if it's your first eclipse and you've never actually seen it before, I don't want you to do this and be cursing and screaming at the machine and miss all of that. And don't forget, you guys already own NASA and all their photographs. So, my plan is take pictures of all the kids that I'm working with and all of our friends and everyone doing the oohs and the ahs and just look at it and then go back and cherry pick all the great NASA pictures for my own. So, that I would pass that on. Good old taxpayers, we get to do that. So for those of you who do get to see the eclipse, and for those of you who are staying here for the partial, you don't get to see that, but you'll hear people talking about it. So just really quickly, the most common things people will talk about is the diamond ring effect, and that's that very last piece that gets covered up, right? As you get circle over circle. And then the corona, which doesn't show up here very well in this light, which is just that big outer atmosphere, and sometimes they have different shapes. And they have those, I lost myself, there I am, coronal streamers. That's okay, I'd rather not hear myself, but that's okay. And then Bailey's beads. So this is really one that's kind of interesting. So, Bailey's beads. If you had to guess what might cause all of these little odd pieces of light to show up along the edge of those two spheres covering each other, yeah?
Mountains or geography?
Yeah! So the moon's not smooth, right? I mean, it looks beautifully smooth, but it's got mountains and craters, and it's got mountain ranges and big flat mirrors and everything else. And so what happens is, this bumpy profile, so we have another thing that you own, you should be very proud of all these things you have. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter does a great job. It just circles the moon and maps the moon. Pictures, 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 mapping, mapping, mapping. Okay? But so this is the expected profile of the edge of the moon during the eclipse, right? So some of these places where you've got these, nice little valleys in here are places where they're trying to predict how easy is it to predict these Bailey's beads. Okay, so that's a little bit about what some of the astronomers are going to be doing and some of the science that will be happening during this eclipse. All right, so what we hope you do is throw a party, right? Have a bunch of friends and actually get out and experience it. This is a picture and a map from the 1918 eclipse that came through Washington State. So, and so that's just kind of a nice little comparison. But, we're going to show you today, you can do all of this for free. You can actually view the eclipse safely without having the eclipse glasses. We're making sure you have them, but you can do it without them, and we're going to practice that. But yeah, so definitely do your best to get out and see the partial eclipse, because I think it's just going to be stunning from here. Thanks. Yep. The other thing you can do, buy a stamp. So again, Mr. Eclipse helped design these stamps. They were released about a month ago. And it's, when you buy the stamps, they look like this, and as soon as you apply some sort of heat to it, like your thumb, the moon shows up. Yeah. So, at least in the United States, it's the first something stamp, yes, that we've had in circulation. But yeah, so that would be another kind of a nice souvenir from the whole thing. Okay. All right, so here's our path, and some of the questions that I had been getting before the programming and I've been getting from people is, well, where's the next one, right? Maybe we didn't get our act together soon enough to go down and see it. We want to see the next one. Well, the next one that's going to cross over the United States will start in 2024 and it'll go diagonally that way. So plane reservations today. And what I find really interesting is this intersection here and this space down in here. Yeah, so start building your friends up in this part of the country, right? So Florida, the panhandle of Florida down there and all that good stuff. But that doesn't mean that you won't see anything. Because remember, each one of these eclipses, that's the path of totality. So you'll still have opportunities to see partial eclipses. Okay, so you don't have to, but you're seeing there is, not a lot for us as far as totality left. At least, maybe from my lifetime, but lots of good partial eclipses. Okay, so as far as getting more information about where you can go to see eclipses, the eclipse itself, if you don't want to do it by yourself, or getting any type of safety information or anything like that, all of the eclipse glasses, the ones that say Google and Berkeley on them, came from the Night Sky Network, and that's a NASA JPL group. And what they do is they partner with astronomy clubs all across the United States, and then they make sure that they use us as kind of the delivery method for those things. So you can definitely go to just Google Night Sky Network, and it always pops up in the first or the second line, or use their bit.ly URL that's right up there, and we are passing out the slides, so you'll get all this information. The eclipse page that I showed you earlier was eclipse2017.nasa.gov. And so that's a great place to go for safety information. And I think what we're going to talk about next is kind of the safety itself. So you tell me, what are some of the things we need to protect if we're going to go out and watch this partial eclipse? Eyes! Wow, you guys are good! You guys are really, really good! So we want to protect our eyes. So I'm going to say this a whole bunch of times. All right, so we just don't look at the sun. Just don't look at the sun with your eyes, right? You touch something hot with your hands, what do? Well, yeah, hopefully your hand jerks back first before you get too burned, but yeah, it burns, right? And you feel that, nice little nerve endings. Okay, I'm gonna completely oversimplify the eye here. I am not a physician, I am not a doctor, all those disclaimers. So we have those sensory things in our fingertips, so nerve endings in our fingertips. Our eyes are built differently, right? They have an opening in the front, little iris, they've got a lens, takes the light that we see and it focuses it to the back of your eye to make a picture-ish, light going to different rods and cones. Our brain turns that into an image. We're good to go. Sometimes the focal point's different, so we have to get things in front of our eyes, like when I'm reading, to make sure the image is focused right. So sometimes we need glasses. That canvas, that easel on the back of your eye, that area where all that's going on, does it have the same nerve endings? So if you're looking at the sun and you're damaging your eye, there's nothing to say, ouch, stop, don't do that. Okay, so it means you have to intentionally protect your eyes. And sunglasses are a big no-no. So you don't look at the sun with just your bare eyes, and you don't look at the sun with sunglasses. And the one thing that's really hard is that this time around, so in the past, all of these solar eclipse shades that you have in your hands, that's kind of what they all looked like, right? So everyone had the same. So this year, everyone's going, well, this is a special eclipse. We're going to make hard plastic ones that look just like this. And then you see them in ads, people going, oh, I'm safely looking at the sun. And now I have to explain to, at day camp, 157 brownies, why that ad that they saw, they couldn't use this, right? So they can't use sunglasses. That's why we're handing out the eclipse shades. So what are some other things that you have to protect? Skin, yay! So sunscreen, right? So make sure you've got your sunscreen, right? So you want to protect that. And I'll just go ahead and advance the slide because they already saw it already. And then just keep yourself healthy. 9 to 11:30, that's a long time to be out in the sun, right? So stay hydrated, do the sunscreen, get your logistics down if you're going to be traveling. Give yourself 6 times more time than you think you need to get anywhere. Okay. So that's kind of the general safety stuff. All right. So for this partial eclipse, you're going to want to watch it. It's great. So we have a couple of our favorite ways of doing that That card you have with a pinhole in it, that is now your pinhole camera, right? And so we did this, and I keep going back to the brownies, but that was impressive. Big group of kids, but they all did it, right? So they put the sun off to their shoulder, held the card up, and then all they did was, woo, we're having fun, is projected the sun right on their hands. And then they could pull the card out until they had a nice picture of the sun on their hands, or you could use a clipboard and a white piece of paper, and they could sit there and watch that eclipse if they wanted to, just in the palm of their hand. So just punch a hole in something. You can get really fancy and get a nice big box lid, because the bigger your shadow, right, you get a little bit more eye relief, and it's easier to more contrast, and then you can see that a little bit better. But you know, that's what these are for. We're going to go out and practice so that you guys can do it before you leave. So that is the pinhole method. We also have made them out of Pringle cans. Punch a hole in the top with just a push pin, a little flat piece of white paper, black paper on the back side, and right here, little picture of the sun. And it's cute. A little small. The shorter your vision, or the shorter your focal length, the smaller the image. So this would be, go get the old shipping tube and do the same thing. Punch a hole on one end, little screen on the other end. That one gives me about a sun about that big, which is bigger than the Eclipse glasses. And then this one got mangled. So yes, this is what Daisy Girl Scouts do. So it's kind of, yeah. So, but it worked really well until she tried to shove it in her backpack. But the sun, piece of foil on the top, there's a hole right here in the box, piece of foil, clear tape across the top, push pin through the foil, and then just a little way to look at the sun's image right here. And it works great. And the whole time they're doing this, the sun's over there, they're aiming this way, and they're not looking anywhere near the sun. So, bonus, we got them up not to look at the sun. So that's great. So that's the projection method. Okay. And you can do this a whole bunch of different ways. And so if you were watching the slideshow at the very beginning, I had inserted things. So you can use, people have used colanders. You can just stand in the shade and watch the eclipse through natural pinholes and natural holes in the leaves, right? You just sit there and watch that. You can make your own design. We've, the TAS students actually have put together a hard surface with pinholes in it for the calendar, the front page of the calendar next year. And their plan is, it's punched out TAS students, and that during the eclipse they're going to take pictures of all of the crescents spelling out TAS students. So you can actually you can turn this into a science and an art project all rolled into one. So that's a great thing to do. So pinhole projection is great. This is actually my favorite. And the reason why it's my favorite is I burn so fast. So I slather the sunscreen on, I'm still going to burn. But number 14 welder's glass, right? So this is number 14 welder's glass. It looks like this when you buy it. Shouldn't cost you more than $3, right? Stuck a hole in a box, taped it in. And so with the sun up here, I can watch the eclipse through the welder's glass. And the benefit is I'm in the shade the whole time, right? My whole face is covered. And it really makes a huge difference. I wouldn't want to wear the welder's helmet. I guess I'm thinking about today too much, but yeah, but this is actually really, really nice. And the difference is all these glasses we gave you, right, you need to be careful with them. So we're going to have you fold them up, put them someplace safe when we're done. Because if you bend or put holes in that film, you can't use them anymore. This is much sturdier, right? It doesn't scratch, it doesn't bend. And if I'm dealing with, you know, a large family group where people are passing things back and forth, this is going to survive the eclipse, right? So something to think about is to try and find that welder's glass. Number 14 welder's glass. Okay. I normally don't show slides that deal with looking at the sun with other devices, but I know that there's photographers in here, and I knew that this was going to be primarily adults in the group, and you probably all have friends who have telescopes or binoculars. So if you're going to try and use your own binoculars or a telescope, you want to get the solar filter that goes across the entire front of that object, right? You can make your own with something called Bader film that you order from the Fisk Planetarium in Boulder. I think I got the right place, but Bader, B-A-A-D-E-R, film, or you can buy them. Sometimes they're made of a film, and sometimes they're made of a glass, like welder's glass, okay? So don't try and make your own. Just stick with the welder's glass, the projection, or the Eclipse shades. And if you have any other questions, that's when it's really great to check in with one of your local area astronomy clubs. So in this area, we've got the Seattle Astronomical Society, Boeing Astronomical Society, Tacoma, and then Everett has one as well on their websites. We all have public nights coming up and things where you can actually go talk to people about that. Yep, okay. So we are going to actually practice, and then we're going to go outside and try this all for real. And so here's what I'd like you guys to do is we're going to do this. So I want you to always pretend that anytime you're using the Eclipse glasses, that you're surrounded by a bunch of children that are going to do exactly what you do. All right, I'll tell you why I say that. I did a training last month for the Federal Way Fire Department to teach them how to use this so that they could pass them out the day of, as they go around the parks and whatnot, right? Good safety thing. And I tell them, I said, okay, just do it like this. You look at your toes, you put the glasses on, you hold them tight to your head, and you look up and enjoy the sun, and it's beautiful. But then you look down, and then you take them off. So the fire department goes, oh yeah, this is great, we can do this. Okay, look up, oh man, that's the sun, really? I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna be doing this for kids, so what are you doing? So please, they're gonna hate me. Don't tweet that. Right? So, just look at the ground, put them on, and the reason why I tell you to hold them is you know how these things are, right? You get them when you go to the theater, the old trees that were old like this, they don't stay on your face. Right, so just go ahead and you can take them home and customize them. You know, you get little perfect little barrettes to go for the, you know, to accentuate them for the Eclipse, or you can put rubber bands on the back or duct tape. I wouldn't go so far as staples, but maybe duct tape to hold them on. But in general, just hold them on the whole time. Right, so just go ahead and just humor me, just practice. So look at your toes, put them on your face. I'm gonna watch you. Put them on your face, and then look up at the sun. We'll look at this. The sun's right there. Good, and then reverse the process, look back down, and then you can take them off. And we're gonna go outside and do this. So no fire department stuff. We probably have firemen in here. I'm gonna hear about that. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I love them, they're great. And so we're gonna try that, and then we're also gonna make sure you can try the pinhole projection. Yes?
Do you put these on first and then put your glasses over them?
Yes, I would do that. Instead of, the question is, do you put these on and then your glasses, or do you put your glasses on and these over them? Test it out. I only need glasses to read, right? And so it also depends upon your far vision, right? Because the sun is, it's only going to be, everyone hold up your finger, arm's length, and look at your pinky fingernail. That's the size of the sun in the sky. Okay, just the pinky, that fingernail, not the pinky, that's the fingernail, right? It's not big. So I don't know how people view things at that distance. But if you had to do one or the other, I'd rather you have the glasses on the outside so that these are staying close to your face and not allowing you to peek over the top. All right? So there's that, and then we'll practice doing the card as well. We are gonna do questions before we head out, so I'll make sure that we all head out together. And let's see. Let's see what's on the next slide. I think this is kind of it before we went outside, because we had such a short time together, right? So, Tacoma Astronomical Society, so that is our website and our Facebook page. So if you look down in the south end, check it out. We have a whole bunch of events happening between now and when we leave to go to Oregon. So I do know that, so we have club members that will be at Pierce College Fort Steilacoom for the day of, and they're going to be broadcasting the eclipse inside their planetarium. Pacific Lutheran University is doing the same thing, watching on Red Square, broadcasting inside for comfort. And I didn't get an answer back from here. Does anyone know? Because I didn't get an answer back from UW. They were like, it's going to happen all over campus. Okay. But I do want to show you a couple of things real quick, and then we'll all go outside together. Okay, glasses. See, you know, it's this age when you don't really need them for anything but the computer reading, and then you lose them everywhere. All right, so this is a little program. Maybe not. Okay, let me kill that one. There, good. Okay, we'll get rid of that one. I have to close all of the PowerPoints. Get everything else happening. Finally. Okay, so this is Stellarium, and it is, this is a free, does anyone try Stellarium or play with Stellarium? Oh, great, cool. This is absolutely a free planetarium software, and it works on all platforms, Mac, Linux, Windows, etc., etc. And you can use it to recreate and take a look at the night sky. So if you're curious about what's happening or what you can see, then this is what you can use. So what I have is I have this set up for Tacoma, so I went to the southernmost campus of the three, and it's set up just before the eclipse starts, and I'm going to fast forward time so that you guys get a sense of what's going to happen to the sky around you during the eclipse. All right? So, maybe mess around with this a little bit. There's that. Zoom in just a little bit. Get to play with time. Make it go fast. So the one thing that you guys can watch out for, this might be the who has really good vision on the day of, is watch to see if you can catch Venus. So at the darkest part of the eclipse for here, right about there, you may be able to pick out Venus, yeah, just to the upper right. And some people are really good and they can actually see Venus during the daytime normally. But that might be your target. So from here, you're going to get a dimming of the light, right? Won't be dark, right? It'll be feeling like you're going into twilight. So that's something to look forward to, and then to be able to check out, what other objects you might see. So if you were down in the path of totality, it would get much, much darker, and you would be able to pick out more stars. You'd be able to see Sirius. Actually, the sun is sitting, the constellation Leo the Lion, right? It's a big backwards question mark. It's got its paws out front. The sun is sitting right here. It's kind of cool. So the lion is holding up the sun. So that kind of gives you an idea of what it will look like at its darkest. And then as you climb out of the eclipse, everything will brighten back up again. Okay. And we just zoom in. There's our sun. And there is the moon. We'll back up time because we can. And there it is. So that's how much of the sun's going to get covered. And that's why I think you guys are going to have an amazing time. And it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, I need to be in two places at one time this time because that's going to be really cool too. So if you get really good pictures, just send them to me. That'd be great. And I'll give you credit, of course, but I'll borrow them. Okay. So that's Stellarium. So you can do that. If you'd like to do that on your own, you can do that on your own. There's also the NASA web app, right? So NASA has a whole little toolkit that is Eyes on NASA. So this is part of the Eyes on the Solar System bit, and it's kind of the same thing. This is actually nice if you're working with friends and family that aren't around here and you want to see what they're going to see. So I have this set up for Seattle, and I'm looking at it from the moon's perspective, and let's see what the contrast is like. Well, you can't. So here's that inside. This is the darkest part of the shadow. That cone right here, that's what's making that path. This is the outside, the penumbra, the umbra and the penumbra. This is the outside part of the shadow. This is what you're experiencing with that partial eclipse, right? So you can watch the image in the lower right as we have time go forward again. You kind of see it from the moon's perspective. So it really does kind of drive home, it's the moon. This is all about the moon, not us, the moon, right? It's a very good moon demonstration. So again, go to the website where all of the magic happens is the NASA Eclipse 101 website. So I had some people that were asking questions about where do I send my family. They think they can wear sunglasses. They think the dog is going to become a mummy or a zombie. And This is my go-to site. This is where I'm sending everyone with questions to go to, right? It's that NASA 101 website. Okay, so we have time for a couple of questions, and then we're going to go outside and play. So, yes? Yeah, you could. So the question was, could you take a box lid and then mount the Eclipse glasses in there? And yes, you absolutely could. And so that would be, in fact, that would be a fantastic alternative for little kids, right? Because they're going to do the peeking thing. And we just did 1,000 kids yesterday, so I can tell you. That's a very good point. What other questions do we have? Yeah?
So my cousin said that if you're sort of at the edge of the band of totality, or if you're on a high hill by the ocean, there are different effects you can see. Can you talk about the different effects that you see depending on where you are?
Yeah, so the question is if they're at the edges of the band of totality, or if you're at different altitudes. Well, one of the really interesting things is this is a shadow that's moving across the Earth. And so the location that we're in is we sit before us to the west, before us as far as the path is concerned, we have a rise. So we've got different kids doing different science projects. And one of the science projects the kids are doing is, can they actually get a preview of that shadow rushing down the slope as it comes towards them? The other thing too is if you're off at the edge, some people will experience kind of a constant diamond ring effect because you're just not getting perfect coverage, but you're still close enough, not to have the whole show, the whole little edge, the thumbnail showing. So there's different effects like that can happen. And as you move in and out, the further away you get, then the less light you lose, right? And the closer you are to that band, your atmosphere changes. So your atmosphere, the colors around you change, temperature changes. It's another experiment they're doing. The clouds do different things as the temperature changes. So you should have Cliff Mask can do something about weather before the eclipse. That would have been good. All right, what other questions do we have? Back here.
What do you do to protect pets?
What do you do to protect pets? Pets are smarter than we are. So, they normally don't look up at the sun, right? So, they are good. No, and I'm not making fun of pets or the pet owners or anyone else. But if you had copycat animals, then you might want to consider giving them a pair of their own shades. But in general, I would watch them because their behavior might be actually really interesting to see what they do, especially if you're down in a path of totality. But animals seem to be pretty good about, and remember, they've also got a more pronounced brow ridge in many cases, and the way that they use their eyes and they blink and whatnot is different than the way we do, and our facial tilts and planes and presentations to the sun are different than most cats and dogs anyway. So don't try to make them look and watch the eclipse. And just let them do their own thing. And then watch what their behavior is like. In fact, there's the iNaturalist app, and there is the program that's talking about and asking you to watch what happens with nature. It's a citizen science project that you can participate in. So if you Google Citizen Science Life Responds, or just Life Responds in iNaturalist, then you can find out how, you can watch animals and see how they react. You can watch plants and see how they react. What do the sun following or the sun presenting plants do when the light goes away? So that'd be a great little science project.